Am I the asshole for dyeing my daughter's hair red and redyeing it afterward without her father's permission? I 35 female have shared custody of my daughter Grace 7 female with my ex 37 male. Grace loves The Little Mermaid and she has wanted to dye her hair red since she was about 5. My ex said no, she's too young, and at the time I agreed, and it never came up again. For her friend's birthday, her and her friends went to see the film when it released. She got really interested in Ariel all over again, and started asking about getting her hair colored red again. My ex again said no, but I told him that we could let her use temporary hair dye, will wash out in about 10 washes, so around 5 weeks, and compromised on the shade of red Ariel wears in the films, that is ginger and not bright red, and he agreed to this. Grace has very fair platinum blonde hair, inherited from me, while my ex has dark brown hair. The color in the bottle was called burnt copper. I had shown my ex the bottle before dyeing Grace's hair, but as Grace's hair is very light, it turned to be more red than copper like it said on the packet. I wasn't too worried, as the color would wash out and look more like the model, and Grace was delighted with her new hair. My ex came to pick her up and said Grace looked just like Ariel. While at his for the weekend, my ex got her to wash her hair, and he didn't tell me. I was furious. Grace was meant to use a color-safe shampoo, and her hair was washed just before she got her hair dyed, to maximize the color of her hair. Her hair is now very faded and dull, and she came home and burst into tears. My ex said he didn't know that regular shampoo would cause the color to come out like that, but when I pressed him, he said he was taking Grace to his boss's barbecue and he thought her hair was too distracting. He blames me for not saying her hair would be so bright, although it turned out like the reference pictures on the packet for platinum blonde. He claims he only looked at the hair color of the model in front, although her color is less vibrant as she goes from brown to copper. I told him that is his fault for approving it without checking all the details. Grace told me she told my ex she needed to use special shampoo from me, but my ex told her that his shampoo would be the same. I have reddied Grace's hair from what was left over in the packet as she was so upset, and my ex is calling me the asshole for redyeing her hair as I didn't get his permission. I don't think I am in the wrong. AITA, this type of dye will not damage or alter her hair color. My ex never washes Grace's hair. She hates the feeling of wet hair and I struggled to get her to wash it. When we split, I took on the responsibility to wash her hair. I will not be replying to more comments calling me the asshole for pressuring my ex to let me dye Grace's hair. He is a grown adult and we both agreed to dye her hair. It was a little brighter than we both expected, but one wash later it would fade to look like what the package said. I gave him pictures of the packet and looking back at it, it says clearly to wash with the shampoo in the kit. He had this information. I didn't assume anything. He chose to trick her into washing the color out without bringing his concerns up to me. I didn't use box dye on her. She is 7, and that would damage the color of her hair, and they have lots of harsh chemicals in them. It was a color mask, intended for blonde hair and would fade in 10 washes to her hair color. By using shampoo not provided in the kit, her hair came out dull and faded. I had done my research with this, and it is from a brand my sister uses, who also has our hair color, and she has been left with no damage to her hair color. I dyed Grace's hair temporarily, because she wanted it. It was a fun way for her to express herself and it wasn't harming her or anyone else. Not the asshole. It's only hair. She wanted it, and loved it. I literally had the same obsession with Ariel and red hair. I was allowed to get it dyed red from golden blonde when I was 9. Never regretted it. Not the asshole. Her father prioritized using her as a life prop and betrayed her trust and yours to do it. Now he is gaslighting you, making his mistake your responsibility. It's not a mistake, it's him choosing to go against a decision he agreed to, without consulting you, and then blaming you for it. Based on the divorce, I bet this isn't the first time he's done this. So wait. So the ex has Grace for maybe a weekend or longer and he doesn't wash her hair just because she doesn't like the feel of wet hair? That makes no sense. This sounds like the most benign misunderstanding of colored hair care turned into an argument just for the sake of arguing. You two need to grow up and stop looking for reason to get mad at each other. Also, dyeing your blonde kid's hair red is a bigger decision than you seem to think it is. Especially if she truly is platinum blonde. Even though it's semi-permanent, that red will literally never go away. In 6 months her is going to have super blonde roots and the rest of her hair will be a dingy, rusty, orange shade. It's going to look terrible, and she will be upset cause she is too young to understand how hair dye works. Everyone sucks here just for disrespecting each other's wishes and creating so much drama over something that actually isn't going to matter in a month's time, or wouldn't have, if it weren't for the unnecessary drama. Am I the asshole for excluding my new neighbor from stuff and hurting her feelings? Last month my old neighbors moved out and some new ones moved in. A couple in their late 20s with 4 small children. The wife is a som and the husband is a trucker. I went to introduce myself and bring them a pie right after they moved in. I didn't really like their vibe, but I'm a friendly person, so I tried inviting the wife to things. Our neighborhood is small, a collection of 10 houses. Everyone knows everyone and is generally pretty friendly. No one else has young kids though. It's mostly couples with no kids, or older couples whose kids moved out. I hang out with 2 of my female neighbors who are a similar age to my own, mid-20s. We go on walks, have lunch at each other's houses, etc. I only work 3 days a week, so I have a lot of free time. I invited the new neighbor, Molly, to 2 different things. Lunch at my house and also a walk, hike me and the others were going on. Both times she just assumed she could bring her kids and showed up to my house with them. I turned her away from lunch at my house because I don't want 4 rowdy kids under the age of 6 in my not childproof house. She was upset because she has no one who can ever watch them, and she can't come without them. She did bring them on a walk with us, but we couldn't go in the forest because of her stroller, so it kind of ruined things for us. There's no trees or shade in the neighborhood and the summer heat makes it awful. The forest is much better. Since then I've been avoiding Molly like the plague. I just don't want to be her friend. She's invited me over, asked to come over and bring her kids. She even asked me to watch her kids the other day so she can have a break. I barely know the woman and I feel like her behavior is pretty inappropriate and she's maybe just not picking up on social cues. Today me and my other neighbors went for a walk in the forest, and she saw us go. She texted me to ask why she wasn't invited, and I said it's because we don't want our plans to be altered by her children, and she's expressed that she can't do anything without her children. She went on a rant about how it takes a village and we don't understand what it's like, and she called us all assholes. I agree with her that I don't understand what it's like, because I would personally never choose to have 4 kids with an absent husband. I just feel like she's being unreasonable to expect us to have a bad time just so she can have a good time. Her kids were super annoying and hard to deal with. My husband thinks she's an asshole, but my mom thinks I should be more sympathetic. Am I the asshole for excluding my neighbor from activities? Edit. Okay, since you guys wanted me to add it, I'll add it. I asked Molly if she had any food allergies and if she was okay with salmon and quinoa for lunch. She had the opportunity to mention she wanted to bring her kids and chose not to take it. I did not make enough food to feed her 4 kids, because I had no clue she planned on bringing them. I only made food for 4, not 8. Also, when we went on a walk, the original plan was to walk in the forest. But at last minute she unilaterally decided we as a group should change our plans and walk the neighborhood instead because her stroller can't go in the forest. She also said, "You're all a bunch of bitches for not making things easier on a mom, so yeah, bridge burned. Sucks to suck Molly. Not the asshole for not inviting her on things you don't consider child-friendly. You still could be her friend though and socialize with her on other occasions, if you like her otherwise. Not the asshole, she clearly doesn't understand the meaning of it takes a village. Not the asshole. I hate that whole it takes a village bullshit. If you choose to have kids, that's on you. You don't get to then put that on others and expect them to alter plans to suit you. You were aware that she has 4 small children and is new to the area. What did you think she was going to do with them? You should have said, "Is there any chance you could get a sitter and join us?" If there was someone of babysitting age on the street, you could have mentioned this. She is an asshole for the "it takes a village" comment to people she hardly knows. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for giving my sister's inheritance to our other siblings and their kids? I, 36M, have 3 younger sisters named Kate, 31F, Beth, 29F, and Meg, 26F. Our mom got sick around 10 years ago and I was forced to become a caregiver. She progressively got worse over the course of a decade. I was only 26 when this initially happened. Beth and Meg were too young to expect them to contribute, but Kate decided it would be a good time to up and move away with her new boyfriend. As our mom's health declined, she repeatedly asked for her daughters. She forgot my face but called the names of her other children who didn't even come visit. Beth and Meg were unhelpful, but they still made an effort to come see her, though rarely. Around the halfway point of this terrible process, Kate started telling stories of our mom being abusive. These couldn't be farther from the truth. Our mom was fragile and definitely had issues. She struggled with severe depression and anxiety, but she never mistreated us. I stepped up as a kid to do a lot of the parental duties. It was me who took all my sisters to their father-daughter events and scared off the boys trying to date them. The lies devastated our mom, but eventually she was too far gone to understand. She never had a bad thing to say about anyone. It was just in her nature to forgive, especially if it was her children. I'm sure that if she had been all there, she still would have wanted nothing more than to see her daughter. My relationship with all three of my sisters deteriorated, but Kate took the cake. She'd call out of the blue asking for money, yet never asked how our dying mom was doing. Our mom passed peacefully in her sleep. I think seeing the state she was in sobered Beth and Meg. They apologized and sat beside our mom in her final hours. All three of us cried together, but only one name left my mom's mouth: Kate. Kate skipped our mom's funeral. She came riding into town with a complete stranger expecting her inheritance. My mom wrote a will before things went downhill that left everything to me with the unspoken expectation that I distributed all equally. No one else was mentioned or specified. I divided things up between Beth, Meg and I. Their children also got something to help pay for college or whatever they decide to pursue after high school. The physical items were divvied up between family. My sister threatened legal action over it. She said she was owed a certain amount from our mother's estate and that she wanted the old family house. I told her that she's owed absolutely nothing and to enjoy living in whatever shithole she crawled out of. Anything she's given will be spent on drugs and stupid shit like lottery tickets. I won't fund that when it could go to helping my nieces attend college or give them something to lean on after turning 18. Our extended family are picking sides and saying I'm being petty. They said my mother would want Kate to have the money, but I know that if she got even a penny from me, she'd see it as an opportunity to squeeze me for all I have. She's not getting anything, even when I'm old and senile. Edit. It was not put into writing that I need to divide everything equally. I am the only inheritor listed on the will. My mom did hope that would be the outcome, but understood that there might be circumstances which complicate things down the line. Not the asshole. Your mom isn't around to say what she wants. I'm assuming the will was made early on before things got really bad. I can't imagine how hard it must have been to see your sister shun and try to use your mom. That being said, any loving mother would know when to cut their child off financially. Don't give away the last of your mother's legacy to fund an addict's dangerous lifestyle. Let it live on and serve her grandchildren. You should have a serious discussion with your sister. Tell her why you made the choice you did. Screw the extended family who thinks they have a say. Your mother chose you for a reason. She trusted you to make the right call. Now trust yourself. I'm sorry for your loss. There's clearly missing info. You and your sisters seem to have very different relationships with and feelings towards your mom. You're not a reliable narrator at all. Not the asshole, but a lot will depend on your mother's will was actually worded and how much leeway you had as executor to make decisions about division of the estate. If your mum did leave it all to you to distribute as you see fit, then I don't fault you for doing exactly that. Not the asshole, she doesn't deserve a single penny at all, I wouldn't give her anything at all. You are the asshole, and inheritance isn't a reward for good behavior, and people don't tend to be estranged without a reason. Am I the asshole for breaking my sister's engagement? Edit. Update. It appears there's been a general consensus that everyone, meaning my sister and I, are assholes. And in retrospective, I cannot disagree. I'm an asshole for disclosing my sister's medical information behind her back, and she is an asshole for not discussing such important medical history with so. I've sent my sister an apology letter. She hasn't replied yet, but she will. I know her well, I just need to give her some space. As for those calling me a misogynist, FCKFF. Perhaps my choice of words in the post was wrong because English is my second language. Also, I meant biological children. But don't for a second believe I think of my sister as less of a woman because she can't bear children. It's just that she's been through so much suffering and heartbreak because of men who did mistreat her due to her medical condition. I would know I was the one to support her emotionally, not our always busy parents. I was genuinely happy because I mistakenly thought she found someone who accepts her for who she is. As a result, I made comment during a conversation and made an asshole of myself. And I cannot blame her so much for lying either. Was her longest-lasting relationship. I guess she was terrified of the potential consequences. As for Derek, I talked to him. We're going to hang out this weekend. Plans were made in advance. I'd be letting down a lot of people, and that's not who I am. I'll talk in more detail with him. At worst there will be some closure. At most maybe something can be mended. His primary complaint was my sister withholding something so important. And her attitude when confronted. He said he didn't think much about kids prior. And anytime he'd mention it to my sister she'd answer with something like, "We'll see," and so he didn't want to pry into something that made her uncomfortable. He said he needs some space from my sister and to rethink and reevaluate how he envisions his future. That's all. Thank you to those who were civil for their insightful comments. My M37 sister, F29, recently got engaged to the love of her life. I'll call Derek, M34. They've been dating for about a year and a half and we the family have gotten to know Derek since the beginning of this year. We all love Derek. Especially my dad and I. We watch F1 every weekend together with the rest our friends. The engagement was announced about 3 weeks ago. We were all obviously excited. 2 weeks ago at the last GP I was talking to Derek and at some point, reason I might be in a hole, my mind slipped and I said something along the lines of, "It's great you found someone you love so much you would abandon having children." Sadly my sister had to fight a battle with ovarian cancer when she was 16–17 which resulted in the surgical removal of her ovaries and from what I understand part of her uterus. Now I didn't think much about my comment. But turns out she never discussed this with him. It was like I dropped a nuclear bomb of information. He said now it made sense why she always avoided discussing about children. Well, needless to say, the engagement broke, and they have now separated. And in the eyes of my sister and mother I'm the asshole who separated my sister from the love of her life. Everyone sucks here. Obviously your sister shouldn't have lied and should be honest with him, so it's her fault the engagement ended, but also what a shitty thing to say to someone. Like not having children is some huge burden and that your sister needed to do more to justify him marrying her because of her ovarian cancer. Not the asshole. First of all, you had no idea. That alone makes you not the asshole. Furthermore, your sister omitted a huge fucking thing from this dude. Can they adopt? Yes. Can they use a surrogate? Sure. But can the poor guy forgive her for never telling him something so monumental? Nope. Trust is gone. Everyone sucks here, except poor Derek. Obviously your sister should have discussed this with him. But fertility issues and having children isn't a topic you bring up unless the other person does. There was zero reason to mention this to him. Not the asshole. You didn't know she hadn't told him, and frankly, that's really a conversation they should have had before getting engaged. Your sister and mother are using you as a scapegoat. Not the asshole. Who is so serious with someone they get engaged but don't tell them something this important?